What's going on, everyone? So, there are a lot of rumors going around about Scream 7, how the script is done, and that they want Sidney Prescott back. Did a whole video on that. Check that out after this video. But there's also a lot of rumors going around that Scream 7 very well could be the last installment in the franchise. They kind of want to have this full circle moment where everything culminates and comes to an end. The Billy era ends. You have Sam and Sydney and all of that, right? All wrapped up in a beautiful bow. And it is very likely that Scream 7 could be that case, right? They're trying to get Scream 7 out sometime next year. Word is around May. Okay, cool. Whenever it comes out, even if we have to wait another year or so, because there are questions about, Melissa Barrera, Radio Silence, Jenna Ortega. Obviously, if they want Sydney back, Nev Campbell, what's going to go on with her? Is she going to be willing to come back? Are they going to actually pay her? Right? There's a lot of question marks that they still have to figure out and they still have to solve. But the fact of Scream 7 being the final installment in the franchise, I just don't buy. I don't buy it for a second. And there's several reasons here. And of course, I want to hear your thoughts and opinions, so let me know down in the comment section below. But the biggest reason, in my opinion, is Paramount and Spyglass and all them. They paid a ridiculous amount of money to go and acquire the rights to Scream. And now, it wasn't just Scream. It was a whole catalog of films, and it had, all these different variations of film. But Scream was the big draw. Like, that's where the majority of the money was, right? And they're going to have to make a couple more of these films just to get that money back, right? Counting the cost of all the films to make, everything like that. The profit, if any, is non-existent because they're still in the red because of the acquisition of all that stuff, of getting all the rights. So I don't think that Scream 7 is going to be it. I could see it being the end of the Billy arc in the Sydney arc, right? You have this full circle moment where everything ties back to the last, 7 films, and there you go. Wrap it up in a nice bow. Say goodbye to Sydney. Say goodbye to Gail. Say goodbye to Sam, Tara, Mindy, Chad, whoever else is alive, if any of those people are alive, right? That's it. It's done. It's over. We're moving on. Right? And I could see a little hiatus. I could see, a couple year hiatus. But to say that it's the end of the franchise, I don't buy it. I don't. Right? Because the beauty of Scream compared to most horror franchises is it never has to end. You don't have just one person. It's not one entity or deity or creature or whatever, right? It's not Michael Myers where Michael Myers dies, then that's the end, right? And now you got to reboot it. No. Ghostface is who's ever under the mask. It could be anybody. You could make a different film every single year from now till the end of existence just on that premise because it's never the same person, right? It's not Billy Loomis as the only Ghostface, and if Billy ever dies, then that's the end of the franchise, and now you got to reboot it, right? No, it's literally every film, it's a different person. So with that formula, you have an inherent advantage that a lot of other franchises don't have. Nightmare on Elm Street, it's about Freddy Krueger. Halloween is about Michael Myers, right? Friday the 13th is about Jason Voorhees. If you kill off those people, those entities, those creatures, then that's it. Now, with Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th, that's a little more paranormal, right? That's a little more supernatural in the sense of especially Freddy Krueger, right? Where Scream is based more in realism, more in reality, right? It's not some superhuman or some dream monster demon. It's a person under a mask that's running around killing their friends, right? And that's what I think also makes Scream very special. That's why it's my favorite horror franchise, because it's real, right? We see this type of stuff every day on the news. It's just, instead of a knife, it's usually a gun, but still, it's people that are everyday people that are crazy, right? Like, we live in a crazy world, and the idea of like your friend at any moment could just slice you up, like, that's something, right? Like, that to me, like, I love The Strangers. Like, I love films that I can put myself into that are real. Many people believe in the paranormal and stuff like that, and believe in, ghosts and stuff and demons and stuff. But, like, how many people have movie level experiences, right? Like, I've never had a, like, concrete, definitive experience where it was, like, out of a horror movie, right? People have had, like, hauntings, or have seen ghosts and stuff like that, or, claim to, or, again, whatever your belief is. But, people have claimed stuff and believe that they have seen stuff, or, believe in that. But were they, like, movie level paranormal stuff? No, right? You might have saw, a ghost walk by in the room, or you heard a noise, or, a glass fell on the floor or something like that. It wasn't you getting thrown across the room and, a demon appearing in front of you and, snatching your kid and dragging it into another dimension or something. It's not all that stuff, right? Where something like Scream, you have that, like, oh no, this could happen, right? Like, random acts of violence happen every day. So it's the realism that I think is also very attractive for a franchise like this compared to a Nightmare on Elm Street. And look, I love a good just sci-fi or paranormal film or supernatural or, whatever, demon movie or something. Like, I love me a good one of those as well. But there's a big difference between, like, oh, I could see this happening tomorrow, and this, where it's like, yeah, like, some dream deity isn't going to come and kill me, right, in my sleep. It's just not going to happen, right? So that, I think, is another reason why Scream can continue success for now until eternity. Because you're always going to have that drawl of realism. People are always going to want to step out of the usual run-of-the-mill supernatural style stuff and get into, like, some good old-fashioned slashers, right? Because that's what makes slashers so great. It's that. And so you have a character that isn't reliant on an individual. It could be anybody. You have a realism style, film in the horror space, which is different than a lot of things that are usually thrown out, right? And then on top of that, you have a financial incentive. I just don't buy Scream 7 and that's it, right? I don't. Again, I can see a hiatus. I could see them taking, a couple years step back and then going, okay, well, we're gonna reset the franchise with new characters. Not gonna have Sydney. You're not gonna have any tie-ins to the past. Here's a brand new story with brand new characters, brand new Ghostface. You could just keep doing that. Like, I wouldn't even be surprised because there's a lot of rumors of a series, right? So I could see them doing Scream 7, finishing Scream 7, and then maybe moving into the series route. But that would still be a part of the Scream franchise. For there to be rumors going around that Scream 7 is going to be it for the franchise, I just don't buy it. I don't think for a second that that's going to be the reality. I mean, look at Halloween. I mean, they're still pumping out Halloween movies every couple years. That franchise has been rebooted, remade, different adaptation in every way possible. They're about to come out with another, Friday the 13th series. They're working on Nightmare on Elm Street. Like, all of these things, right? Like, they're going to keep pumping these out. As long as they make money, they're going to keep pumping them out. And look, Scream 5 and 6 have good box offices, right? They're under the perception of, like, this is a successful franchise. So, they're not going to just say, okay, well, we're never going to make another movie again. There's always going to be somebody, like, maybe it's not Paramount, right? Maybe Paramount sells the rights to somebody else, right? Blumhouse loves to take franchises like this. Blumhouse in a couple years might they might release the rights to somebody else to go make the films. At some point, we're going to get another Ghostface. We're going to get another Scream, right? I do think, though, and I do believe that Scream 7 will very likely be the end of Scream as we know it. It'll be the end of the Sidney Prescott, the Gale Weathers, the Sam, the Terror, all of those things. That I do think. That I do believe, and I absolutely could see happening. Now, could they say Scream 7, super successful? Or maybe they split Scream 7 into 2 parts or something like that, right? Go part 1, Scream 7, part 2, Scream 8. Cool. I could see something like that happening too. But I do think that we're going to, sooner rather than later, come to the conclusion of this arc, this variation, this adaptation of Scream as we know it. And we start moving into a different direction. It's kind of where I fall with that. And I think that that's okay. I think that's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with concluding. I thought that they should have done that with Scream 5. Right? Like, I wish that they did that. Because instead of handcuffing yourself to the past and having to, like, have all these tie-ins and connect and, like, kind of just make things kind of convoluted, I wish that Scream 5 was just, here's a new group of characters, here's a tie-in, maybe get a mention or reference or maybe a little cameo from Sydney or something like that, and Gale and Dewey, like, instead of having prominent roles, like, here's a little cameo, but this is new group, new everything. Boom, here you go. I wish they would have done. I wish they would have done that in Scream 6, because Scream 5, the way Scream 5 ended, I thought you could have had a full circle conclusion, right? And had all that done and just kind of told a new story and went a different direction, right? They didn't. They had this tie-in. They're probably going to have that tie-in in Scream 7. They're going to keep doing that. And I do think Scream 7 very likely could be the end of the current adaptation of the franchise. And then they will eventually pivot into a new group. Whether that, again, maybe it's a series. Maybe it's not a bunch of films. Maybe they just stop making films and they go into streaming. Right? Because that is kind of where a lot of things are starting to head anyway. Right? So could Scream 7 be the last, like, theatrical Scream? That could be a possibility. I could see that happening. But, like, the end of the franchise, I just don't buy it. I don't see that. Scream as a IP is too valuable. People are going to go see the movies. People love good slashers, right? As long as you tell a good story and have good characters, people are going to go flock to go see the film because they're going to want to see people get sliced and diced. They're going to want to see Ghostface. They're going to want to see how the story plays out, the whodunit, the mysteries, all of that stuff. All of that stuff is so relevant still. People love that stuff. They eat it up. Right? I'm one of those people, right? Scream is my favorite franchise, my favorite horror franchise. So I know I'm not alone when I say, like, as long as they make these films, I'll keep watching them. And there are probably a million other people that feel the same way. Again, I don't want them just making movies. I don't want to just see Scream movies just for the sake of Scream movies, right? I don't want you just making a movie and just, oh, here you go, here's a movie. Like, no, I want it to serve a purpose. I want to be entertained. I want to enjoy it. I want to be like, man, that was really good, right? So I don't want it to just be blatant cash grabs. I mean, any sequel, every movie, period, is a cash grab because the goal is to make money. That's why I think, like, the whole, like, people overuse the cash grab. Like, oh, it's cash grab. Like, yeah, everything's a cash grab. Like, you don't, if you're making something for profit, then it's a cash grab. But there's a difference between making quality cash grabs and then just, oh, this was blatantly just a cash grab just for the sake of it, right? This was just dog doo-doo that you just threw the screen tag over, right? Halloween ends. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? Somewhere in between? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. Let me know down in the comment section below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button, follow with the bell notification, stay up to date with all things Scream, join this wonderful community and all of our discussions. See you all in the next one. Thank you.